AI or no AI, and why?
Well, like no AI completely.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it has a lot of benefit, but safe use, controlled and built in a way that we understand what is actually going to happen and we understand the consequences. Obviously, there's a lot of benefit to it, so I don't see why no AI.
Even Elon Musk is scared about it.
I wouldn't say no AI at all, because clearly, like, we already been introduced to AI like a few years ago with social media and all those algorithms. But the concept of AGI, like, that scares me. To be fair, like, okay, first of all, like, it's kind of like a very complicated to define what is like consciousness by default, also for us human. But if we have a machine who can actually surpass the capability of like our brain, instead of like also understanding and learning emotions and how to trick people, because of course they're going to be also trained, those machines, to trick people for make profit, and already happened with the algorithm of social media, etc. But like then you're gonna have a future where it's it's already is like to discern what is like a real or fake. And if you take images, like there's so many images now made by AI, and you can't tell the difference is actually generated by AI or taken. And how many jobs could be like lost in the future years?
Okay, what do you have the answer for that?
Can I respond? Yeah, no. I mean, we have to sort of discern, like, what is the question? You have AGI, you have superintelligence, you have AI, you have machine learning, right? Like, no one is against advancing technology, against progress. If it can benefit humanity, I mean, there are risks involved, but we, try our best to mitigate those risks. The benefits, immediate benefits, I think are more substantial than the risks at this point.
For my opinion, I think I am happy with the advance right now, but I think there should be certain limitations to everything in the future. Right now, we are not at the risk, I feel.
We have no framework for understanding consciousness, or intelligence, let alone consciousness. So the idea that we're sort of putting our faith in a few fearmongers to try and push, slow down, decelerate rather than accelerate progress, could be harmful. I mean, that said, of course I like stopgaps and measures and processes in place to make it safe. But yeah, I don't think we're at a risk. Like, we are at an inflection point, and unfortunately politics is becoming more and more part of involved. And it's like the technical people that are being sidelined, and that is creating sort of an issue. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting 5 years. I think Kurzweil's prediction of AGI before 2030 is probably true, but to the extent of AGI, we don't know. Because, people are like, well, it hasn't passed the Turing test yet. Where do we draw that line? Yeah. And then is the risk superintelligence? This is all just defining, setting a boundary, and then moving the goalpost. Once the systems become more integrated and ingrained in common everyday life, then there is a risk. But yeah, I think the risks at the moment are more mundane. Things like misinformation, disinformation, just misuse of it in general. Threat actors, there's a lot of threat vectors there, but it's not an existential risk at this point.
I have a couple of points. Like, one is, if you reach the superintelligence, if you reach the singularity, one of the main characteristics that we human have is that we want to keep us safe, and not dying pretty much. So we need to, you know what I mean? We need to protect ourselves. If you reach as a machine that kind of like consciousness, and you get to the point where you get that super intelligence, then of course the machine is willing to protect himself or itself anyway. How do we stop that in case it happens, in case we lose control of AGI? First and second, there is also another problem, which, I mean, I wouldn't just call it more mundane, but it's like we see that every day. It's like, since the introduction of social medias, which is like the very first moment where the big public could have been in touch with artificial intelligence, the level of depression went to the roof. So what is going to happen in the next year if we already been seeing what happened to, on the big picture, to normal people in their daily life, what happened to them, and to this level of depression, generally speaking, what is going to happen in the 5 years, whatever, what's your peak about it?
On your first point, I'm a huge fan of Yudkowsky. I'm a huge Yud fan, and I do believe, if we do create a super intelligence, that is a huge problem. Like, just a game theoretic kind of point of view, like, it's going to want resources. It's going to want to, do anything in its means to kind of protect its interests, sort of thing. We've seen that in any kind of system, whether it's like an economic system or an agent with consciousness. Whether we're going to get there, that is an issue, and this is why alignment is a big part in this machine. I think OpenAI is like promised 30% of their compute to super alignment, fixing the problem of aligning super intelligence. But like we're not close. So I'm thinking short term job displacement is probably the issue. But like, I mean, going back to the Industrial Revolution, it only created jobs. There was huge, massive displacements from the Agricultural Revolution, from the Industrial Revolution, but it created more work. Yeah, yes, there might be a bit of turmoil and sort of upheaval, like social upheaval, but ultimately society grew from that and was more innovative, more efficient, and more productive. Like, if we're talking about risks, yes, the risk of having a centralized power controlling controlling the main AI systems, the main algorithms, everything, I think is far more of a risk at the moment than say, an existential risk. So decentralization in AI is actually a big issue.
Okay, so far, no risk, but take steps in the future to control it.